Chapter 5, Ratios and Percents, Lesson 1, Ratios. Lesson objective, to write ratios to compare real-world quantities. Vocabulary, 3 words. First one, a ratio, a comparison of two numbers by division. And here's an example of the 3 ways to write a ratio. 2, a tape diagram is one way to represent ratios that uses length to show how two different quantities are related. So it's using segments to show that length. 3, a double number line diagram, another way to represent ratios that shows how two quantities in different units are related. In this example, we have days of the week, and down here is supposed to be minutes. We will begin first with ways to write a ratio. When we're writing ratios, there are 3 ways, and all 3 ways you're going to read the ratio the same way. And the way to read that ratio is as your value. So for example, we'll say 5 to 1. This is the way we'd read it. Our comparison of numbers is 5 comparing it to 1. Now the ways we would write that in words would be 5 and then the word TO, just like how we would read it. The second way would be with a symbol. We'd still write the number 5 and then our symbol would be a colon, 2 dots, and then 1. And then as a fraction is using the fraction bar. Since we're going left to right here, when we write a fraction, we'll go top to bottom. 5, and then there's our fraction bar, 1. And these are the 3 ways that we write a ratio. Now let's take a look at some examples here on the next page. In this practice, they ask us to write these ratios 2 other ways. If you notice, they're all written in one of the 3 ways, and we need to write it the other 2 ways. So looking at example number 1, 2/5. It's written in fraction form. So the other 2 ways we need to write this is word form, and then we need to write it in symbol form. So in word form is using the word TO. Since this is a fraction going top to bottom, we're then going to turn that and write it left to right. So 2 to 5 as a fraction is 2 to 5, and there's our word form. Symbol would be using the colon. Same way, except instead of the word 2, we put in our 2 dots, our colon, and then 5. Here on number 2, we have 1 to 3 using symbol form. So that means we have word form and we have fraction form that we need to write this ratio. In word form, we're going to use the word TO. Since it's left to right, it'd be 1, 2, 3. And as a fraction, then we're going to write it top to bottom. It'd be 1 and then our fraction bar, 3. You may pause the video at this time to take a couple of minutes and complete practice problems 3 and 4. Our next examples here are ratios on a tape diagram and using a double number line diagram. We will start with the ratios on a tape diagram. This scenario says that the tape diagram shows the ratio of boys to girls in a swimming class. How can you describe the ratio of boys, so the ratio of boys, to the ratio of girls? Well, in order to do this, we first need to count out our segments. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boys, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 girls. Here we have the scenario that for every 6 boys, there are 5 girls. So this is describing what we're seeing in this tape diagram. Now, to write that ratio, we're going to say 6 boys, and we're going to keep our labels to 5 girls because they do tell us what these values mean, so we need to keep those labels with them. That is a word form. We can also do that in symbol form. And the last form would be fraction, where it would be 6 boys in our numerator, fraction bar, whoops, 5 girls as our denominator. Now, in the double number line diagram, they give us the scenario that Megan plays the piano every day. Using the double number line, describe the ratio of the number of days she plays in 1 week to the total number of minutes. So they want us to describe this. So Megan plays for 7 days for a total of 140 minutes. We just look. Here's the entire week, 7 days, and that corresponds with a total of 140 minutes. Now, to write that as a ratio, we would say 7 days to, there's our word form, 140 minutes. We could write it in symbol form, 7 days, and then our symbol, the colon, 140 minutes. Or we can write it in fraction form. 7 days would be our numerator. Fraction bar, 140 minutes would be our denominator. Let's take a look at one more example of each of these. Here on practice, we have a tape diagram to start out with, and it says below, this shows the ratio of dollars earned to dollars saved. How can you describe this ratio? Again, since it's a tape diagram, we're going to count our segments. So we have 3 here and 1 here. It's dollars earned to dollars saved. So here we see that we have, for every $3 earned is $1 saved. Now we can write that comparison in ratio form. So we're going to start with word. So we have $3 earned. Again, these were labeled, so we're going to keep those labels. There's our word form, to $1 saved. We have symbol form, and we have fraction form. I want you to pause the video and take a couple of minutes and complete the symbol and fraction form of this ratio. Our last example is the double number line that shows Emma's speed during a track event. Describe this ratio. Now, they didn't tell us that we had to do so many meters or so many seconds. So here we can choose, and I'm just going to start with this first one here and say that for every 5 meters Emma runs, it takes her 2 seconds. And then we could use this here to write our ratio. So remember, we have word form, symbol form, and fraction form. And I'm going to write this one in fraction form here. 5 meters, since that's what we're comparing first, is our numerator. Then our fraction bar, 2 seconds. Please pause the video and take a couple of minutes to complete the word and symbol form. When you're finished, this completes our lesson for Chapter 5, Lesson 1, Ratios.